for this country and didn't miss a single day of work. Now, he did that in 1 month. Just imagine what he's going to do with 4 more years. Ain't that right? Now, after covering up Joe Biden's incompetence for the last 3.5 years, our friends in the media are at it again. This time, they're gaslighting us on Kamala Harris's radical record. They want to portray her as some kind of sensible moderate, despite all evidence to the contrary. Now, this is the same media that told us, remember, my friends, for 3.5 years that Joe Biden, who couldn't complete a sentence, was Albert Einstein. And now they want to tell us that Kamala Harris is Abraham Lincoln. But anybody who is too blind to see Biden's incompetence, or let's be honest, too dishonest to admit it, doesn't deserve to be commander-in-chief. Kamala Harris is not getting a promotion to the presidency of the United States. Now, the Democrat Party bosses would like to install her as their new nominee and as the next president, but remember, she has not received a single vote for president. Let's actually give Democrat primary voters some credit, because in their primary in 2020, Kamala Harris was so unpopular, she didn't even make it to the first vote being cast. She wasn't in the top 3 in her home state of California. And the reason is Democrat voters know what every American agrees with: America is never going to elect a San Francisco liberal who's so far outside the mainstream. We're not going to elect Kamala Harris as president. Now, let us count the ways of the disastrous policies of Kamala Harris. 500,000 kids. I was at the border just a couple of days ago. 500,000 kids have been trafficked by the drug cartels because of her policies. She was the border czar. The media lies to you, but she was. Hardworking Americans cannot afford groceries because of her policies. Gas and energy are through the roof because of her policies. Housing prices are out of control because of her policies. You cannot let in 20 million illegal aliens to compete with Americans for scarce housing and then raise interest rates, which is exactly what Kamala Harris has done. And people right here in Georgia and all across the country have suffered because of it. Now, the media calls her a moderate, but there's nothing the fake news loves more than a fact check, so let's do a fact check. Kamala Harris was the most liberal United States senator during her entire time in public service. As America's border czar, Kamala Harris unleashed the worst border crisis in American history. 10 million illegal aliens have invaded this country. The total, that's what they say, that's the official number, it's probably more than that. Biden and Harris, on day 1, they suspended deportations. They stopped building the border wall. I saw it just a couple days ago. It's sitting there on the ground, ready to be finished, but Kamala Harris won't let them. They reinstated catch and release. Then they proposed amnesty for millions of illegal aliens. Kamala Harris turned Border Patrol into a travel agency for the worst criminals and terrorists all over the world. Now, we have a different message, President Trump and I do. If you're in this country illegally, start packing your bags. You go home in 6 months. But we're not done yet. The border isn't the only thing Kamala Harris has wrecked during her time in office. In 2021, she was the tie-breaking vote on $2 trillion of reckless spending that juiced this inflation crisis and sent a lot of money to China. Well, I don't think we should send money to China. I think we ought to keep it right here at home. Remember the Inflation Reduction Act, which was really the Inflation is a Disaster Act. She cast the deciding vote, triggered the worst affordability crisis in generations. And at the same time, she said that high gas prices were, quote, the price to pay for democracy. A woman who's never earned a vote for President of the United States. That's the price for democracy. Well, it's not the price for democracy, my friends. It's the price we paid for her failed leadership. Now, Harris wants to ban fracking, ban offshore drilling, take away your gas cars. And by the way, I think in America, you ought to be able to drive whatever the hell you want to, because this is America, and we believe in freedom. She wants to take away your gas stoves. She even wants to take away your ability to eat red meat. That's how out there she is. That's real. The fake news will fact check it. They'll fact check it true. She actually said that. In other words, she thinks that she's better than us. She thinks she's better than you. She thinks she's smarter than you. She thinks you need to be told how to live your life. But this November, let's tell the Washington elites, let's tell Kamala Harris, mind your own damn business. We're electing Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Now, every time the Democrats attack us and attack our movement, they can't help but tell on themselves. They reveal how much they hate the American people. Now, remember this. Remember, Barack Obama said we cling to God and guns. Remember that? Hillary Clinton called us deplorables. And now, Kamala Harris says we're weird. Well, Kamala, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about some things that are weird. We think it's weird that Democrats want to put sexually explicit books in toddlers' libraries. We think it's weird that the far left wants to allow biological males to beat the living crap out of women in boxing. We think it's weird for a presidential candidate to bail convicted rapists and murderers out of prison, and that's what Kamala Harris did. And I think it's especially weird when Kamala Harris comes to Atlanta. I believe came here to this arena. Kamala Harris comes to Atlanta and talks with a fake Southern accent, even though she grew up in Canada. You can't make it up. That's pretty weird. Go watch the clip. She sounded like a Southern belle, even though she grew up in Vancouver. It doesn't make any sense. But on November 5th, she can go back to using her San Francisco accent, because we're going to send her packing and we're going to re-elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Now, we can handle the made-up attacks by Democrats and by the media because we're used to it by now. But here's something I can't stomach about Kamala Harris. It's when she has the nerve to question our loyalty to this country. And she does. Well, here's what President Trump and I believe about loyalty. Loyalty to this country is closing our border, not opening it up. Loyalty is making life more affordable, not causing inflation because you can't stop sending money like a drunken sailor. Loyalty is safeguarding Medicare for American citizens, not bankrupting it by sending it to illegal aliens, which is what she wants to do. Loyalty is protecting Laken Riley, not allowing an illegal immigrant to take her life. Loyalty is serving in the United States Marine Corps, something I am proud to have done. Loyalty is taking a bullet for this country, something Donald J. Trump did. Kamala Harris, if you want to see the face of disloyalty, look in the damn mirror. Now, for decades, we've gotten used to it. Politicians in Washington have sold out this country. We got to remember, when the multinational corporations and the lobbyists called their offices, a lot of them traded American jobs for campaign cash. Now, they'd never admit that, of course. They'd brag about trade deals, and they'd promise cheap products. They called it globalization, and that's what it was, sending American jobs to some other part of the globe instead of keeping them right here at home. And if it's up, my friends, if it's up to Kamala Harris, it's going to keep on happening. Let's remember her record. She voted to preserve NAFTA, the very trade deal that sent American jobs to Mexico and turned American dreams into nightmares. Now, she's asking us for a promotion, and I think it's time to say to Kamala Harris, you're fired. The American dream is dying under Kamala Harris. But we're going to save it. We're going to save it for every American, regardless of color or creed, and we're going to do it when we re-elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. That's why we got to do it. You know, President Trump knows a few things that the Washington politicians forgot. He knows that 1 million cheap plastic toys from China is not worth a single American manufacturing job. We're going to rebuild American manufacturing. We're going to rebuild the factories. We're going to rebuild the American dream, and we're going to stamp more products made in the USA. It's a beautiful thing, and that's what we're going to do. Now, I've seen the consequences of electing failed politicians like Kamala Harris. I've seen it in my own hometown, because more often than not, it's the people the Bible calls the least of these that suffer the most when Kamala Harris doesn't do her job. They like to say they're for the little guy, but it's the little guy who hurts the most when Kamala Harris fails. Now, a lot of you know my story. You know how I grew up. I was raised by a strong woman, a Christian grandmother who loved the Lord, but also loved the F word. Ladies and gentlemen, she was a study in contrast. I think there are a few out here just like it. Now people ask me, how is it that you were able to grow up in a poor family, grow up in a family that was struggling, had a lot of chaos and a lot of trouble? And the answer is because, one, this is the greatest country in the world, and the American dream is still possible. The second answer is because I had a mamaw who was tough as nails, and she kept me on the right path. Now, I could tell you a lot of stories. Well, one of my favorite mamaw stories is when I enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps. She was very proud of me, of course, but it was a time of war, and mamaw was not happy that a recruiter had persuaded me to enlist in the Marines. So I remember he came over to our house and started to walk up the steps to her porch, and she said, "Look, if you step one more foot on my porch, I'm going to blow that thing off." And she had 19 handguns at home, so that was not an idle threat. But that strength and that discipline allowed me to achieve my dreams, and things worked out for me because we love our country. It's a great country, and because there are women like Mamaw all over this country making sure kids are able to achieve their dreams. Thank you. But let's be honest, there were some tough times too. And this goes to the point about Kamala Harris's failures. I remember, the reason Mamaw raised me is because my mom struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. And I'm proud to say that she has been clean and sober for almost 10 years now. I'm so proud of my mom. Thank you. And for all those struggling with this terrible problem of addiction, no, there is hope and there is recovery. It's worth it. You got to keep fighting for it. But we support you and we support your dreams for second chances. But it wasn't always that good. Didn't always think that I would get a second chance with my mom. I remember being a kid, waiting at the bedside of my mom, angry that she had taken something she shouldn't have taken, and just praying to God, even though I was so mad, praying to God, please, Jesus, just let her wake up. Don't let this thing be the thing that took her life. And the unfortunate truth, my friends, is that the poison that Kamala Harris has let into this country means there are a lot of kids like me who are not going to have those prayers answered. We're going to remember who we're fighting for. And it's the kids at the side of those bedside tables begging God for their parents to wake up. We're going to make sure that happens. We're going to fight for the people who are struggling in this country. And the contrast between an America led by Kamala Harris and an America led by President Trump, it couldn't be more clear. Remember, President Trump's vision was closed borders and open factories. Kamala Harris's vision is the exact opposite: open borders and closed factories. Kamala Harris, she wants bigger government that can tell you what to do, and she also wants smaller bank accounts, which I think a lot of us have seen. But Donald Trump, by contrast, delivered record paychecks and the strongest border in history. What an amazing record of accomplishment. Kamala Harris wants to ban fracking and buy energy from every tin-pot dictator all over the world. Donald Trump wants to drill, baby, drill. Let's get it from our own workers and our own territory. Kamala Harris wants to raise your taxes, and she wants to make it easier for companies to ship jobs to Mexico and China. Donald Trump wants to lower taxes for hardworking families. In fact, he already did it, and we want to reward companies that hire American and buy American. It's all about protecting the workers of this country. Kamala Harris wants to defund the police and let violent criminals out of jail. Donald Trump wants to lock up the bad guys and back the blue, and he did it for 4 years. He's going to do it again. So I want to send a message out there to those who are struggling, those who are trying to make ends meet. If you're scraping by instead of thriving, I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to choose between paying off the credit card or buying groceries. I know what it's like to watch families fall apart under financial stress. I know what it's like to worry that a parent will never kick that habit, and I know what it's like to worry that that habit is going to eventually claim their lives. But I also know that our national motto is "In God We Trust." And God tells us not to despair, but to hope. Hope. And while the media likes to lie about this movement and this party, this movement of ours is about a simple idea. We love this country enough that we will never give up hope, and we will never stop fighting for a better future for everybody, whether they vote for us or not. If you're an American citizen, we love you, and we're going to fight for you. Now, we know that in this election, the best way to give our people hope for the future is to re-elect the guy who already did it and did it very well, Donald J. Trump, the once and future president of the United States. In just a few months, I believe, this state of Georgia is going to lead a great American restoration, a restoration of safety, of prosperity, and yes, of hope. We're going to secure our borders. We're going to kick out the drugs and the illegal immigrants. We're going to rebuild American manufacturing. We're going to bring jobs back to this country, and we are going to buy American, for our people. It's going to start in Georgia. God bless you all. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to be your next vice president, and we're going to win Georgia and win this country. I love you all. Thank you so much.
Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, he's doing a great job. You know, they go after J.D. You know why? He's for the worker. He's for people that get out and they want to work. And frankly, they are people that have been taken advantage of, and he doesn't like it, and he's done great. He's done great. He's been everything we could have expected and much more. So, J.D., thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you to Atlanta. I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of Georgia. I love Georgia. With thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. Crazy Kamala, ultra-left, you know that. She was here a week ago, lots of empty seats. But the crowd she got was because she had entertainers, and it all started to unfold when they started to leave about 10 minutes into the speech. It was very boring. I don't need entertainers. I fill the stadium because I'm making America great again. That's our entertainment. That's our entertainment, making America great again. And I have to tell you, we have thousands of people outside, and the state was terrific, but the fire marshal, I will say, could not have been better. Thank you to the fire marshal. But the school administration stopped us from getting another 500, 600, even 1,000 people in. Thousands of people were told no, and that was okay, but we could have fit another 600 people. So I don't know anything about the school. I don't know anything about this school, but they could have allowed more people. You got people standing outside. Look at all the people outside. They could have come in. They could have come in. So we're not happy. Hello out there. And then they actually pushed the people very far away from the building where we have beautiful cameras set up for the overflow crowds, the administration of the school. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be sending anybody to this school. I'm not happy about it. If they're going to stand in the way of admitting people to our rally, just imagine what they're going to do on Election Day. We're not going to let that happen. 94 days from now, we're going to win the great state of Georgia in an epic landslide. And we're going to defeat crazy Kamala. You know, there's about 19 different ways of saying it. She only likes 3. Biden never even came close. Kamala, she goes, Kamala. No, it's Kamala. We're going to evict this radical and incompetent administration from the White House. They're destroying our country. We're going to save our country. We're going to save our country. Yesterday, it was announced that unemployment is surging, with 350,000 Americans joining the unemployment rolls just last month. Tell you what, we could end up in a depression. We could end up in World War III and a depression. How about that? Could happen, too. Under Harris-Biden policies, We now have the highest unemployment rate in 3 years. Just came out yesterday. Even I was surprised. Those numbers were terrible. If Harris wins this election, you will quickly have a Kamala economic crash. You're going to have a crash. You could also have a crash like in 1929, more specifically, because that's where we're heading. When we win, you will rapidly see a brand new Trump economic boom. It's going to be booming like it was 4 years ago. With your vote, inflation will stop. The illegal aliens will be turned back. They're not coming in. We got to stop them. Did you see where she's now saying, oh, we had a very good border. Oh, great. They had the worst border in the history of the world. It's all misinformation. That's all they're good at, that and cheating on elections. They're very good at that. The cartels will be crushed, crime will plummet, incomes will soar, the wars will end, and the American dream will come roaring back, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before, right? Yes? Thank you. But with 4 more years of Kamala, the California socialist, you know, she destroyed San Francisco. Then she destroyed the whole state. Look at what's going on in California. With your family and our country, it'll never recover. If you have any more time with these people, it's already, I'm worried about the next 3 months, if you think about it. These people are grossly incompetent. You'll end up in World War III, I'll tell you. And I hope I'm not right about that. You know, do you ever see the hats? Trump is right about everything. I don't want to be right about that. Her policies of open borders and double-digit inflation, inflation like we've never seen before. It's destroying middle-income families, working families, all families. Will demolish your life savings. 40 or 50 million illegal aliens will invade our country during the next 4 years if they're in. 40 or 50 million. Medicare and Social Security. You know, she said she wants to put everybody on health care. You know, that's wonderful. It's all wonderful. First of all, they shouldn't be told to come here. Many of them were fine where they were. But no country can sustain this. Social Security will buckle and collapse. The suburbs will be overrun with violent crime and savage foreign gangs. That's what they're doing. You know, they're sending all their gangs into the United States, right? Look, there's front row Joes. You didn't get into the front row. What happened to you? What happened? Thank you. We have front row Joes. They've been to 229 rallies. And then look at these people. These, I call them the beautiful ladies, and you're not allowed to say that anymore. It's the end of your political career. You say beautiful. You're barely allowed to say ladies, right? Because that could also be destructive. But they're beautiful, they're ladies, and they're great. And they've been to 216 rallies from North Carolina. They look great. Happily married. I got to talk to their husbands. I don't know. They're way over 200 rallies, and they're incredible people. Thank you very much, by the way. Thank you. Appreciate it. Together, we will stop Kamala Harris's nation-wrecking. I'll tell you what, when you see what she's done to our nation, she's wrecking our nation. The radicalism will take back our country from the worst administration in American history. Biden was the worst president in the history of our country. She's acknowledged to be the worst vice president in the history of our country. She doesn't have a clue. You know, if she doesn't have a teleprompter, she can't even speak. Did you see her the other night? They put a camera in her face. She can't even talk. We just went through 4 years. Let's not go through another 4 years. Can't talk. No, it's terrible. You know, by the way, I'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal. Did you see the deal we made? Now, look, we want to get people in. You know, we got 59 hostages. I never paid anything. They released some of the greatest killers anywhere in the world, some of the most evil killers they got, and We got our people back, but boy, we make some horrible, horrible deals, and it's nice to say we got them back, but does that set a bad precedent, Bert, right? Does that set a bad precedent, Bert? Harris has the most ultra-left-wing agenda of any presidential candidate ever in history. There's never been anybody like this. She is considered more left-wing than crazy Bernie Sanders. Look at her. She's worse than Bernie. And she happens to be really a low IQ individual. She really does. She has a very low IQ. We don't need a low IQ. President Xi of China said, oh, good, we have another one, a low IQ individual. They love dealing with low IQ. They love dealing with low IQ people, and they got them here, I'll tell you. We got them all. She is terrible. She's worse than he. I think she's worse than him. By the way, they really took it away from the guy, right? I don't feel sorry for him because he's a bad guy. You know, he's weaponized the whole thing, and nobody's ever done that in this country. But he's a bad guy. But people feel sorry for him. They did a coup. He just doesn't know it. But actually, he does know it. You know that. They said, Joe, you got 14 million votes. It's yours, but you're going to give it up. You're going to give it up right now, Joe. You're giving it up right now. No, I'm not. I was elected democratically. I was elected. No, you're giving it up, Joe. We're either going to do it the nice way or the hard way, Joe. You're getting the hell out. And it was the debate performance. So here's what happened in the debate. You know, there was the highest rated debate ever, and which was a great compliment. And as I left the debate stage, I took off because other people were entering the stage. You understand. I said, I don't want to confront other people. So we had a great debate. But as I left, CNN, I won't say who, but they said, that was the single greatest debate performance I've ever seen. And this went on for 2 days. They were saying how great I was. On the third day, they didn't mention that anymore. They said he was terrible. I liked it the first way better. I made him choke. Don't kid yourself. We made him choke. He was choking like a dog. He was choking. He was choking like a dog. And that was the end of him. I mean, that was the end from that. Then they said, okay, this was a disaster. So then they started doing interviews with people that are, you know, 100% bought. The media, the fake news media, they had some people interviewing him, like George Slopadopoulos. ABC. ABC's one of the worst, by the way. They're all sort of bad when you get right down, but ABC's bad. And they're asking him hardball questions like, where did you stay last night? Did you think you did well in the debate, even though you could? Did you ever see a guy in the debate, you know, they give you like 2 minutes to answer, and you want to use up, you got so much fertility in there, you want to use up every second, and he'd answer a question. You have 92 seconds left. And I kept saying, I'll take them. And he said, oh. You have 92 seconds left. He goes, oh. This is not what he wanted. He left a lot of time on the board. But I went right down to the last second. I didn't want to go a little bit over because I know they'd cut me. They would have cut me. But they were very fair, actually, CNN, shockingly, honestly. They were very fair. They want to do another one. You know, we're doing one with Fox if she shows up. I don't think she's going to show up. She can't talk. She can read a teleprompter. I'd give her about a 6 on a scale of 10, 6. For talking, I'd give her less than a 1. We need people that can talk. Kamala pledged to give free taxpayer-funded health care to all illegal aliens. How do you like that idea? Which will destroy Social Security. She called for the abolition of ICE. Listen, ICE, I know some people here. 2 of them are really tough guys. They're fighters. They're vicious people. They're good, tough people. They don't want to work for ICE. ICE will go into a pack of MS-13 killers and thugs. And for about 2 minutes, you just see fists flying back and forth, and then they stand up and they win, and they grab them, they throw them in a paddy wagon, they get them the hell out of the country. And she's calling them the equivalent of KKK, okay? And she loves deadly sanctuary cities. By the way, all of the things you're hearing now, she's now denying. But you know, the one good thing about the internet, you press a button and you got it. Although they are trying to delete everything. You know, they changed the picture of me from a couple of weeks ago, and they really radicalized it. They changed it, you know, using AI, they changed it. They had all the people on the stage who were angry, and they were smart and sharp and very brave, and they had them all big smiles on their face. Can you believe that? They put the agents, who I have to tell you, say what you want, those people were brave. They were running to me, and the bullets were flying. The Secret Service, they were very brave. They were very brave, I can say. They were very brave. They were running at me, and they knew the bullets were going right over my head at that point. The first one was not a good situation. Not a good situation. That was really something incredible. That was from God. That was from God. Because the chances, that was from God. For all of you non-believers, that one was for God, right? Boom. That was a close one. But I just want to say, though, they were very brave. They pounced on me. They pounced on me, and I heard those things whizzing over me. They were whizzing, and I have to say that because, you know, people take abuse, and there were mistakes made. There were mistakes made, pretty bad ones. But the bravery of that moment was incredible. And also that the sniper, the Secret Service, who's a phenomenal, talented shooter, one bullet from hundreds of yards away, if he doesn't hit his target, and he hit his target, boom. But from hundreds of, if he doesn't hit the target, then you have Corey and a lot of other people that are dead. Corey was great. Two other great gentlemen, warriors, great Trump people. We love them. And they're really, we thought they were going to be gone too. The doctors were incredible. They did a great job, an unbelievable job. But if that sniper, and he had 5 seconds to think. He did not know about it beforehand, by the way. He had 5 seconds. He saw the flash, and he knew what that was. And within 5 seconds, he got off his shot. One bullet, think of it, one bullet. And that was the end. Otherwise, you would have had many people dead. He did a hell of a job. And that was from a very far distance. That was from basically about triple the distance. It was a much longer shot. So we want to thank him, and we want to thank all of the people in Secret Service for their bravery, because they were very brave. I mean, this was a bad thing. Very brave. But she refuses to even say the words illegal alien or radical Islamic terrorist. She says nope. And the main thing, think of this, she wants to let mass amnesty and citizenship. She wants all illegals to have mass amnesty. Everybody can. Even criminals, because many of them that are coming in are from prisons and jails and mental institutions, insane asylums. They hate when I use Dr. Hannibal Lecter as the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Oh, they go, look at all the media back there. Look at all the fake news. That's a lot of fake news. That's a lot of fake news, Bert. But she doesn't want to get involved. Look, here's a story. When a politician says something young in life, that's where they are. That's what they believe in. Defund the police, all the things that she said, that's where she would go if she ever got the chance. She's never going to get the chance. Our country will be destroyed. She's worse than Biden. She's worse than Bernie Sanders. She's Bernie Sanders, but not as smart. That's the way I view her. I said she's a dumb version of Bernie Sanders, and actually further left than him. She supports mandatory gun confiscation. I'm sure you wouldn't mind that. Would anybody mind if they came into your house and took away your gun or your guns? Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked to hear that. She's for taking away all of your guns. The problem is they won't take them away from the bad guy. The bad guy's not giving up the guns. The good guys are going to, oh, well, yes, ma'am, here's my gun, thank you. Now you're totally defenseless in your house. No, you can't do that. She said that a 70 to 80% tax hike is, quote, a bold idea that should be discussed. Oh, that's nice. She co-sponsored the $100 trillion Green New Scam. She wants to abolish all oil and coal and natural gas. We want to work on wind. We want to have wind blowing. She vowed to ban fracking. She wants the government to stop people from eating red meat. She wants to get rid of your cows. No more cows. No more cows. Oh, it's serious. You know, in Europe, you know, you smile and you think about it, but in Europe, they're sort of doing it. They don't want any cattle. She wants to get rid of gas-powered cars and replace them with all electric. They don't go far. They cost too much. They're all made in China. Other than that, they're fantastic. And I'm for electric cars. I have to be, you know, because Elon endorsed me very strongly, Elon. So I have no choice. But he knows. No, I am for him. I'm for him for a small slice is a slice. But you want to have gas-propelled cars. You want to have hybrids. You want to have every kind of a car imaginable. They want to go all electric. And there's no way you can ever load them up. They call them loading them. You can't load them. We're going to have to spend $9 trillion in the Middle West. You saw they built chargers. Now, a charger is a gas pump with electricity come through. Is that good? So it's like for 8 chargers, they spent $9 billion. Is that a good deal? So at that rate, it would be $10 trillion to charge up the country. The whole thing is crazy, right, Mr. Preacher? She wants to get rid of 2 very special words to me, and I came up with this because I noticed when you went into stores, I used to go into stores, now I wouldn't want to go into stores because they have everything under lock and key. You ever see they have bars up, they have glass up? I don't know how you can do business like that. I'd like to buy a toothpaste, please. Oh, wait till the clerk comes. You know, 25 minutes. They open this heavy glass armored door. How the hell do you make money doing that? It used to be that if somebody robbed your store, you would be very tough about it, right? Now, Kamala started this. Anything under $1,000, you can do whatever you want. Another way. And these guys are sitting out there. You ever see them? They've got paper. Okay, you go ahead. Whoop, that's over that. Drop that back. Put that. There's no crime if it's less than $1,000. She's the one who started it. She is a lunatic. She wants to get rid of these 2 very special words. You remember I used to bring it up all the time in 2016. By the way, we did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016, but these are minor details. We did much better. They said, what was the difference? I said, well, we got millions of more votes. You know, as you know that too. But we're not going to let that happen again. Ready? The 2 words are Merry Christmas. She doesn't want anybody saying Merry Christmas. Now she's denying it, and then they found the tape last night. She's such a liar. She denies all this stuff. She said, I was not the border czar. She was the New York Times has a headline, border czar. She was the border czar. She was the worst border czar. She was the worst czar in history. Kamala's radical ideas belong in a San Francisco commune filled with far-left freaks, but they do not belong in the White House. They do not.